All right, let's do some Mathity-Math. It says here, complete the square to make a perfect square quadratic. Okay, so this is like a foundational step that you'll use when you solve quadratics later on using the perfect square method. So this is just one of the steps, one of the foundational steps in that process. Let's go ahead and talk about what that means to make a perfect square quadratic. Okay, so this is a quadratic because of the second degree, but we can represent this visually. And if we represent this visually as a small square, you could think of it as this. If this square's length was x and its width were x, okay? Well, if you were going to find the area, x times x would be x squared. And we're just visually representing this, okay? And then we subtract, that's what it says. And then we're going to put another piece in, and this piece is 18x. So if you think about it like this, the height would be the same, right? X, same as this, they're lining up, but the width on this one is 18. Okay, well, 18 times x would give us 18x. So this is just a visual representation here. Now what we're going to do is going to take this shape right here, we're going to kind of adventure a little bit. We're going to say, I'm going to cut you in half. Cut, 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 cut. So if I cut that in half, you could see that this 18 would actually be 18 divided by 2. Right? So 18 over 2. And I know you know that is 9, but let's just call it 18 over 2 for now. So I'm going to redraw this, right? So I have this one. This is my x by x. Okay, that's this guy, x by x, because this is x and that is x. And then I'm going to take just one of these halves, and I'm going to stick it right there. So the width is still x, I'm sorry, the height is still x, but now this width, instead of being 18, because I cut it in half, cut, 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 it's actually 18 over 2. And I'm going to take this piece that I cut, and let's imagine I stuck it down here. This is the other piece. So nothing has changed. All we did was cut it up and rearrange it, and I drew it a little bigger. So this one right here is also 18 over 2. And now you can see here we almost have a perfect square, except for we're missing this piece right here. So let's draw a little arrow and think about this. Well, what would be the dimensions of this little square piece? Well, this is the top right here. Well, that's 18 over 2. And the height over here is also 18 over 2. Well, think about that. What is 18 over 2 times 18 over 2? That is 18 over 2 squared. Okay? And that's the missing piece we add to make a perfect square. And when we say perfect square, we're being super literal here. We're making a quadratic that would be, let me just make an outline here, a perfect square. And you'll find later why we do that. It creates some really nice opportunities for us. So we're just trying to turn this quadratic into a beautiful perfect square. And we do that by what this piece represents, that perfect little square. And this perfect little square is always your b value divided by 2 squared. This is the key. But now you know where it came from. It's that little shape right there. Your b value divided by 2, and then you multiply it twice to make that little square, and that's our missing piece. Okay, so when we plug this in, we know that my b value is 18, technically negative 18. Let's look at that. Negative 18 divided by 2 squared, which is the same as negative 9 squared. Well, what is negative 9 squared? Well, that will be a positive 81. And that is how you make a perfect square quadratic. The reason why, I'm going to give you a little spoiler here, the reason why we like perfect square quadratics, because when you have a perfect square quadratic, you can factor them extremely easy. You just take the perfect square value of a, which is x, you bring down the sign, and the perfect square value of c, which is 9, because 9 times 9 is 81, and you put a square there, and that would be the factored level of that quadratic. So you can factor them super fast, and that's why we do it. Okay, as always, if you want more math practice or notified when you get that practice, please subscribe below. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave me a question or comment, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you. Bye.